Hey everyone, it's Danielle Taylor with Keller Williams Realty here on the beautiful Outer Banks. And it is Stats Day. So exciting. It's that day of the month that's my favorite. Just for those that like to pay attention and zoom in, see this little spot on my nose? That's the PSA for all of us. If you live in a sunny environment, go to your dermatologist and get checked all the time. This is nothing. They just froze it off, but it's a good reminder. So anyway, if you're wondering what it is, that's what it is. So let's dive in. So this is for all of the data through August 31st, 2025. And just as a reminder, it's all courtesy of the Outer Banks Association of Realtors. If you're new to the group, we follow single family residential for all of Dare County and all of Corolla, including 4-wheel drive. Okay, so let's dive in. So first thing we always talk about is unit sales. So how are we doing unit sales? Well, we finished August up just slightly, like less than 1%, but we finished August up over year-to-date 2024 and flat August over August. Okay, so kind of just holding where we have been year over year and month over month. But what I will say is that August ended up being up about 7.8% over July. So if you remember, June was up over May, then July was down over June, and now August is up over July. So I think really what's happening this year, if you look at year to date being essentially flat or slightly up, basically we've just seen the sales move around in different months, but the overall number is staying pretty consistent. So that's where we are unit sales wise. So we're holding on. The next thing that we always talk about is inventory. So new listing inventory is actually down about 5.2% year to date. So we've got less new listings on year to date 25 over 24. But we were actually up about 5% from July. So August new listing inventory over July new listing inventory is up about 5%. Totally expected. We usually see, as we approach the end of rental season, we usually see that inventory, that new listing inventory go up to enter into the fall market. Okay, so not surprising there. One thing that I find a little bit surprising is that August 25 over August 24, we're actually down 12% in new listing inventory. So this is very curious, and we really got to keep an eye on this, and I really need to start doing a deep dive and trying to figure out what's going on here. But 31% of the properties that hit the market in August are already under contract or sold, and the average days on market for those properties was 2, big fat 2. So the good stuff's still selling, people. I don't know how many times I can say it. We continue to hover at about 5 months worth of inventory overall. So that keeps us in the quote unquote statistically stable range for sales buyer versus seller market, stable, kind of neutral. But please, I beg of you, understand that it's very, very different by area and by town. And I'll give you an example. I just had a meeting this week with a potential seller in Corolla on the oceanside, and we were discussing everything and running numbers. There is over 8 months worth of inventory in Corolla on the oceanside right now. So that is a very different conversation than an area that's maybe like Kitty Hawk that's sitting at less. Okay, so let's be very specific when we're looking at it, because our decision making and our focus may be very different depending on the area. So one thing I will say is that having spent the last few days with some amazing new buyers, looking at inventory, I gotta say, even though it looks like we have 5 months overall, we are severely lacking in good inventory. And so I will say, sellers, if you want to shine and you want to sell, please check out the video I did last week, I think, about the 5 things I wish sellers would do. Because if you do those things, not only will you shine, you will sell, and you will sell fast. And we're going to talk about multiple offers in a minute, but I will tell you that will happen, and I can show you the facts. I'm going to be doing a follow-up video to that seller one probably in the next week or so with some amazing seller clients of mine that are on it. They did every single thing that I told them to do, and they had some amazing results. I don't want to spill the tea just yet because I want that to be its own video, but please trust me when I tell you these things. It's all for your own good. Anyway, that's that. So that's inventory. Median residential sale price. So we're sitting year to date at about 696,000. So we're under 700 year to date, which is down about 3% from 2024. Median list price for under contract, because remember, we don't know what it's going to sell for yet. The median list price for under contract sitting at about just over 710. And for actives at 799. So that gap and discrepancy that we've talked about all year long remains. The median sold to list ratio is sitting at about 98.2, which is actually up from 97 year to date 2024. And about 26% of the buyers right now are paying cash, down slightly from 29%. I would suspect that that will continue to trend down a little bit given the favorable trend in interest rates. So we'll watch that, but I'm not surprised by that at all. Price reductions. So once we get it listed, how are we doing? Well, year to date, about 43% of the sold inventory has done at least one price reduction before they sold. And that's up significantly. It was about 35%, almost 36% year to date in 2024. Okay, so that's definitely up. About just under 42% of the under contracts have done at least one, and over 50% of the actives have done at least one. So, that's just something that we're seeing more and more. And if you get it wrong, we're going to see those price adjustments. Multiple offers. So I alluded to this before, but overall, about 16% of the properties that sold indicated they had multiple offers. Now, remember, it's not a required field, so there may be some that didn't disclose that, but that's down from about 17% in 2024. Interesting note, though, 12% of the properties that had done at least one price reduction year to date did end up getting into multiple offers. So again, when we get it right, when we get everything to align, the buyers will come. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. Closing cost concessions. So 47% of properties that have sold year to date offered some sort of concession, which is down from about 49% last year. And then days on market. How long is it taking things to sell? So on average, our average days on market for solds is 71 versus 53 in 2024. So that's up quite a bit. But the median is 41 versus 29. And I like, how I always like the median better. So the median days on market is 41. Under contracts, we're sitting at about 80 average days on market, and actives are sitting at about 123, which is up almost 2% from where we were sitting in July. So the stuff that's just sitting is just sitting and sitting and sitting. So that's definitely not where we want to be. So anyway, that is where we sit year to date to the end of August. As always, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of this. Also, make sure you're getting the newsletter. If you think I'm giving you everything in this video every month, you're wrong. There's so many other things that we put in our newsletter. So please let us know, subscribe to that. And at the end of it all, remember, there's no better living than sandbar living.
No better living than sandbar living, Outer Banks dreams. Yeah, that's what we're giving.